Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by today. This video is a quick presentation of how I created a facts table for my project, the Chinook store project. And what I did was that for the fact table, I extracted um, multiple columns from different tables. As you can see, we have different tables here apart from the track two, which is the one I'm going to describe now. So we have multiple tables. So from the tables, I extracted different columns into my artist album tables, the columns that I would need for my project. So the first thing I did was to create the track two table, which enabled me to extract these columns. So the track two table, I gave it an alias T, and then I extracted the track ID, all the columns in the tracks table. This is the tracks table, so I extracted all this column. So the alias makes it easy for me to call the column names, and then I left joined that table to the genres table because I needed to extract the genre. That's the genre name, the name. So I needed to extract the name. So that is, I give it the alias G. So that's G dot name. I named it January. I changed the name to January. And then I did the same thing for the media types table. I extracted, this is the media types table. I extracted the name as well. So that is, I give it the alias M. So that's M dot name, and I renamed it media type. So I joined the January table to the tracks table on January ID. So when we run this, it this is the table we'll get. So but if I allow it to create the table, it creates the track two table. So I use this track two table to join. I joined the track two table also to the albums to create to the invoice table to create the artist album table. So this is the artist album table. If I run this, it's going to give me all the columns that I called. So all these columns, I gave the artist album, I mean the invoice table, I gave it the alias I. So that means we're selecting everything, practically everything in the invoice table. And I joined it to multiple tables. So the first join that I did in the artist album table was to join the invoice items table to the invoice table. So in the invoice items table, which I gave the alias IV, I picked the I picked the track ID and then the unit price for the tracks, the quantity sold per track. And from there, I was able to do the total amount, that's the unit price multiplied by the quantity. And this round is just rounding it down to two decimal places. So that's for the first join. The second join is to add the columns from the track two table that was created, that I created earlier. So from the track two table, I joined the track two table to the invoice items table IV. So for the track two table, I picked the track name, the album ID, the genre ID, the media type ID, and the media type, the composer. So those were the columns that I picked from the track two table, and then the track two table is joined to the invoice items table with via the track ID. So it's going to pick all the track IDs, I mean all the items in items table and join it to the track two table. And then from there, I joined the tracks two table to the albums table using left join as well. So the idea is just to pick everything that is in the tracks two table that has a corresponding item in the albums table and on either. So albums table, I gave the alias A, and in the albums table we picked the artist ID. That's A dot artist ID, A dot title, which I renamed album title. And yeah, I think those are the two columns that we picked from the albums table. Then I left join the albums table to the artist ID table, which is this. So this is the artist ID, and I give it the alias 80. So um from the artist table we picked the artist name, so which I renamed 80, I mean artist name for clarity, because we had a lot of name in the columns. So for to be able to differentiate the columns, I had to put the the artist name, and to put the right descriptive um, item in front of the names so that we don't mix them up. And then what else was, I think that was the artist's name, so that we have the full information about all the tracks, the invoice, that's the invoice ID, dates they were bought, the artist's name. Oh, okay. So that's the invoice ID, the invoice date, the customer that bought the item, that's the customer ID, the track ID, the track name, the artist ID, artist name, album ID, album title, the genre and the genre ID, the media type and the media ID, the composer, and then the billing address, the unit price, the quantity, and then we're able to calculate the amount. So now I've populated my facts table, the artist album sales table, and what I did was, if I remove this, it would create the table. But I already created the table, so I don't want to create it again. So all I do is just to now download the file as a CSV file.